All right, hello friends. My left ear is popping so bad right now. Ironically, a weird pregnancy symptom thing. It's been my left ear, all pregnancy, keeps popping. Literally as soon as I hit record, that happened. Anyway, okay, so let's sit down in our normal place for these pregnancy updates because this is week 38. So I'm 38 weeks plus 5 days today. Hold on, let me set you up here. Here we are. As you can see behind me, I went through and cleaned the entire couch, got any stains off of it, put the like the stain guard thing over it, so it's like sitting there drying and all that. No one cares. Okay, let's chat. Let's chat about the things. I have made it to 38 weeks, almost 39 weeks. So my due date is, what, 9 days away or something like that? So freaking crazy. I just still don't understand. I don't understand how this is happening. Like, it's so weird because I have been pregnant all year. Literally all year. I got pregnant at the very end of January, technically. Found out at the end of February. And here we are. Here we are. I'm so out of breath. So I want to talk to you about week 38. I was doing week by week at the very beginning of pregnancy, and then I started doing 2 weeks at a time just because it was working better. But now I'm like, let me just do week by week because I don't know how many more weeks I have. So we're just going to chat about this week, what's been going on. I'll talk to you about my midwife appointment that I had, and then also chat about some pre-labor symptoms that I've been having, and then maybe just chat about a couple other ones that I'm not having that I thought I would be having at this point. First of all, I've said this so many times and I don't know why it's so confusing for me, but I think that I've messed up my actual due date so many different times. Like, okay, if you watched all these, you know I've switched practices so many times throughout this pregnancy. I'm on my 3rd one. I saw 2 different OBs first, and then I switched to a midwife. So happy with that decision. As pregnancy went on, the more that I learned and educated and informed myself, that is the way to go for me. So my practice has 2 midwives and an OB, but I've chosen to see the midwife. But if I have to see the OB for any kind of, you know, emergency, high risk situation, she's there. So that just made me feel super comfortable. What was I even saying? With the first couple people, I think I told them, because you basically go off of the first day of your last period, and then the 40 weeks like tracks from there. And it doesn't matter. I told them the correct dates originally. Then at my new place, I was like, oh wait, I think it was this day, which made my due date push out a few days. So long story short, technically I am a few days further than they think that I am, because I went and looked back and I told the first 2 practices the correct dates. It's so confusing and it's so annoying because it's really not that hard, but I have just like messed it up. So long story short, I think my actual due date is October 26th or 27th. And right now they're saying it's November 1st. But at the same time, it depends on your cycle length typically, and mine, and that's like based off of a 28-week cycle, which mine is always like 30, 31, or 32 days. So really, it all doesn't matter. But I might be a little bit further along than I think, which helps me out right now. Feel like maybe it's gonna happen sooner. I don't know. Okay, I was talking about that a lot. Let's move on. Okay, so this week was a full moon. So they say that around the full moon, the hospital is full with more women going into labor. It's like supposed to be a thing because we are linked with, our cycles are linked with the moon, and you know, same thing with pregnancy and blah, blah, blah. You can look into it. I'm not gonna like completely go by that. I do believe it's linked in some kind of way. Not always the case, obviously, because I did not have my baby on the full moon. So it is Saturday right now. The full moon was Wednesday, and every pregnancy you go through 10 full moons. So I looked up all the dates of the full moons this year, and the first one I think was January 28th, and I was technically pregnant then, so that counts as the first one. And then this last one, my 10th one, was this past Wednesday. So they say if it has been the 10th full moon of your pregnancy, then you either have the baby 7 days before the full moon or within 7 days after the full moon, which means that I would have the baby next Wednesday, the 27th. I'm not gonna like completely go by that, but it's like 75% of women have their baby within 7 days of the full moon either way. So the 27th is our wedding anniversary. I like dates to have their own thing. Like holidays should be like a holiday. Birthdays should be like birthdays. I'm so weird about it. Anniversaries should have their own day. And I'm like, she'll probably come and take our thunder on our anniversary, which is totally fine. I really don't care. I just don't want it to be on Halloween. If you're a Halloween baby, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to be rude, but I don't want her to be born on Halloween. Around it is fine, but I want her to have her own day. All things that I cannot control, so. Okay, so let's talk about my symptoms because I've been talking so much already. Why am I like buzzing right now? All right, so let's talk about symptoms I've been having. So I've been having a lot of back aching. That started around 36, 37 weeks, and it came on full force. The last couple days have actually been a little bit better. It's kind of like my sacrum and my tailbone like hurt, but it's that aching, almost like that throbbing within my whole lower back has started to subside a little bit. That could be linked to her positioning, which I'll talk about. Definitely having lightning crotch. And I cannot tell if it's just the whole like lightning situation where it's like really sharp shooting pains because she's kind of like really, really low and on a nerve, or if that is also linked with Braxton Hicks, because I don't think I'm having Braxton Hicks. Like, because the whole lightning thing is really, really low, and Braxton Hicks apparently is like, you know, the false contractions, which are all over your stomach, and I have not had that, but I'm like, my sister said she experienced them really low too, so I'm like, I might be having Braxton Hicks, and I might not. I don't know, and I don't think I'm having Braxton Hicks. I thought that I lost some of my mucus plug the other day, and then again, I'm like, wait, no, I don't think that I did. I think it was just an increase of like the cervical mucus that tends to happen. And I've heard some women lose their plug at like 34, 35, 36 weeks. And so I'm like, all these things, I'm like, I don't know if she's ready to come out at any point. Like I thought I was having symptoms of like pre-labor symptoms, but I don't think I'm having as many as I thought that I was having. I've definitely been having the whole extreme nesting. Some days I'm extremely exhausted, and then other days I'm like, I have the extreme nesting instinct, and I like am just kind of buzzing, kind of how I am. I'm kind of like that right now. I'm like, I just want to get everything done. I want everything to be clean. And everyone's like, you should rest. You should stop and you should rest. I tend to overdo it. Yep, I do. I tend to overdo it. So I think that's what I'm doing. But it makes me feel good to clean. It makes me feel good after the fact. It just brings a lot of joy to my life. And I'm like, if I can't do these things, or I'm not gonna be doing these things for a while, like deep cleaning and stuff, because I'm gonna have a newborn to take care of, let me just do it now. So I guess the signs of pre-labor that I am having are the pressure really, really low, the little bit of increased cervical mucus kind of situation, which has not been the mucus plug, and I have not had the bloody show, so I'm not having that. Another thing that I've been feeling a lot, which is an early sign of labor, is the menstrual like cramps. It will wake me up in the middle of the night, and I'm like, literally feel like I'm gonna start my period. Like it's intense just like that. So I know that is definitely a sign of early labor. So my body is doing things. It is doing stuff. It comes and goes, so it's not all the time. But I've been having that almost every single day. And then the lower back aching. So that's not only just positioning of the baby, but that's also a sign of pre-labor. So, and I definitely have been having that. So I think my body is kind of gearing up, but it's not full force. Like I'm not having, you know, contractions that come and go. A couple weeks ago, I thought I was gearing up much quicker than I am now, if that makes sense. So I don't know if she's ready to come out. So I'm starting to think that she might come a little bit later. This whole pregnancy, I'm like, she's gonna come early, definitely before 40 weeks. Like I know it. And now I don't know if I believe that. And I'm going to try to do a video that is talking about how I'm prepping for labor. So all the things that I'm doing physically, with nutrition, with my mind, that kind of stuff. If I can get to that video before I have her, I would love to do that. Let me know if you want me to do that or not. Okay, so let's talk about the 38-week appointment that I had. Like I said, there's 2 midwives and an OB within the practice, and I have not met the OB this entire pregnancy because I did switch over to them, I think at like 24 or 26 weeks is when I started going to this practice that I'm at now. And I have not met the OB because I wanted to go the midwife route. However, I met her last Wednesday because they were like, you know, you should get to know her just in case if she is necessary day of, which we hope she's not, but it's good to like see her, know her, ask her questions and all that kind of stuff. So I met her and she was really, really nice. I really liked her. And I even told her, I'm like, I hope that I don't need to see you, but in the event that I do, I'm glad that I got to meet her and I did get to ask her some questions and stuff like that. So that was nice. But during the appointment, I got really worried because at first, when they go to measure you, they do the tape measure thing. They go from the very bottom of your uterus all the way to the very top. And that shows literally by centimeters, like how far along you are, like how you're measuring. Like, so it should say literally 38 weeks on the measuring tape. And even I think to the day too. It's pretty cool. I was measuring behind just like a couple weeks. So like when I was 29 weeks, I was measuring 27. When I was 31, I would be measuring 29. But there was a pattern to it, so it wasn't anything like too crazy. But then as of like a few weeks ago, I was caught up and I was measuring on track with the week that I actually was. But then with the OB, she did it and she was like, you're actually looking pretty behind to me. Like you're measuring 34 weeks and it should be 38. That's an entire month. So she's like, normally we don't do ultrasounds, but I would like to get you in to the ultrasound today because we need to check and make sure, you know, she's growing okay, she looks okay, and find out what's going on. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed. And she's like, you could just be carrying really deep, but something is off, so we need to check. So I had to wait for like 15 or 20 minutes in the room, and Clark wasn't able to be at this appointment with me. So I was just on the phone with him, trying to just breathe and like not worry, because obviously that's every mom's, you know, worries something is wrong with their baby and you just want your baby to be okay. Finally go into the ultrasound room with the tech and then with the OB, and she starts measuring and everything, and my amniotic fluid looked really good. Size of the baby, she was like, everything is looking really good. And they're kind of like talking and then talking to me, and I'm trying to ask questions. Long story short, everything looked really good. Thank God. And I had Clark on FaceTime, so he was able to listen and see too. And it was actually so sweet to actually like see her too. And they were laughing because they were like, what did you weigh when you were a baby? And I'm like, I was 7'2" when I was born. And they're like, she's weighing at 7'2" right now. And I was like, really? I was actually pretty surprised. I thought she was smaller than that because my belly isn't like, I guess in some pictures my belly looks like massive, but it's not like hanging out, if that makes any sense. Like I thought I'd be bigger at this point. I always thought that she was like right now around like 6 pounds or something like that, but she's 7'2" right now, and it's not completely accurate. She will be more because every week it's like half of a pound that they gain. But that can fluctuate, so it's not like exact, if that makes sense. Okay, and then we got to see her little face. So first we thought she was, I think she was sunny side up a couple weeks ago or last week, and now they're like, she's basically laying on her side facing my left hip, and hopefully when contractions start she will like just turn and go face to my spine and be head down. But she definitely is head down. Her head is super low. They could feel her femur like up here, her butt and her chest, it's like over here, which I definitely feel all the time. But we got to see like the side angle of her little face, and they're like, she is a chunk. Like look at her cheeks. She has these big cheeks and these little lips, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she was so cute. It just like, I was like super chunky when I came out. I was 7'2", which is totally average, but I just had these big chunky cheeks. I thought that was so fun to like see her cute little chubby face, and I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to like squeeze her little cheeks. And then they also said that she had hair. They're like, we see this big halo of hair, so she definitely has lots of hair. And I came out with a head full of black hair. So I know at this point it's really common for women to get checked to see if they're dilated at this point, or do like a membrane sweep, and my practice doesn't do that, and I don't want to do that. I want things to just naturally progress if at all possible, and just to avoid infections and people going in there and all that kind of stuff. So we're just gonna kind of let it go. My plan is to get checked once I get to the hospital, and that will be when I know how far along I actually am. And my practice does let me go to 42 weeks, which is not very common anymore, at least here in the States. Usually don't let you go so many days past your due date. And, you know, There's reasons for that, but I want to avoid induction as much as possible, so that's what my practice does, and they will let me go to 42 weeks. So I don't want to go to 42 weeks though, so I would love for things to just naturally progress and for her to come before that point. Here's my 38-week belly. So yeah, there she is, getting bigger and bigger. So we'll see if I have another one of these videos to do. I keep saying that. I'm like, how many more updates am I gonna film? So this could be the last one. Maybe I'll have 1, 2, or 3 more, who knows? Anyway, those are the pre-labor symptoms that I'm having slash not having, and that's my update for this week. Oh, and I did do a what's in my hospital bag video, so I'll make sure that I link it for you here, and you guys can check that out. And yeah, I will see you soon. I don't know what side of motherhood I'll be on, but I'll see you guys soon. Okay, bye.